Hey everyone, welcome back to the JS Composite Works YouTube channel. I'm of course Joey, and this is the dust bin. It looks a lot different today than it did, just about 4 or 5 days ago. So a lot's kind of been happening. I've been releasing stuff on social media about this project that's on either side of me. There's one more big component to it that just physically won't fit in here, so that's going to be constructed after either one or two or both of these are, finished, and then I'll get to work on that. So what the hell is this? This is the framework for the new Cape Catamarans 11'6" launch. This is a new style of launch for larger vessels, most notably for the catamarans sailing, or even power cats that need a launch because their beam is large and there's not a lot of dedicated marina space for these. There are some marinas there that do dedicate a lot of space for catamarans, but their beam makes it a little bit tough sometimes to find dockage where you can just walk off of the boat and go do whatever you have to do on shore. So they rely on a launch, or dinghy as a lot of people call it, and this is a solution to or an alternative to what has traditionally been used, which is a rigid inflatable launch, which requires a lot of maintenance. So these are going to be a lot lighter because they're going to be resin infused, carbon fiber foam core construction, very stiff, very rigid, and light. I don't have the exact number what their target is, but I do know it is either 200 pounds or below for the dry hull weight. And that's pretty important because a lot of these launches are manually hoisted up onto davits between the hulls of their mothership. So a lot of people, and this is the same thing, it goes back to kayaking. If they're really heavy and cumbersome, it's very difficult for a lot of people that are getting up in age. A lot of the folks that do cruise are of retirement age. They've worked their time, and now they're going to enjoy it. But to hoist up a heavy launch, with manual methods, no matter how much purchase they have in their block and tackle systems, it can be tough sometimes. So this is the answer to that. And I think the really smart part about all of this is the rigid inflatables have always relied on inflatable tubes for their major flotation. But those with sunlight, UV exposure and things like that, they tend to start to age, and repairs become more of a thing. This is kind of a no-nonsense, just forget about it, kind of thing. It's made of carbon fiber. It will have a gel coat finish on it, so the life expectancy should be the same as the mothership that it's attached to. So enough about the backstory on that. What we're looking at right here is this is the deck framework. This is the plug, which the mold will be made out of, and then the hull over here. I didn't get a count of how many different pieces, but we calculated somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 to 2,600 pounds of plywood. We originally were going to do a medium density fiberboard, but at 90 pounds a sheet, you can imagine how heavy these would be, and they do need to be mobile to be moved around. First off, out of here, and then ultimately down to Florida, where they're going to be constructed. So we want to make it to where you don't have to bring a crane to pull this thing out of here and put it on a truck. So that little bit of weight, made a big difference at roughly around 25 to 30 pounds per sheet. So that's where I am right now. So where is this project going to go? Right now, I've got a lot of fiddly stuff that'll probably take the better part of a day, maybe 2 days. Be using a tape measure. I also have a laser sight also, and my eye, and that is to make sure everything is straight, plumb, level, and square. So, you know, and I'm going to go back to a saying that one of my mentors always would utter is always trust your eye, because it never lies. So, and I'm just looking at these are just freshly set up. There are some things that need to be tweaked, and I can see it. So, you know, when I'm happy with that, then we can move on, because these do need to be as close to perfect as humanly possible before we start committing to sheathing everything and ultimately committing it to fiberglass. So that's where this is going. This is going to be a little video series on how I do it. This is not the only way to build a mold. There's multiple different ways to build, a plug to make a mold. But this is the way that, you know, I have done it. We've done the cost calculations and all that kind of stuff, and this seems to be the most efficient way. And for this project, there's others that, you know, it would involve a 5-axis CNC and a giant block of foam, or multiple blocks that get glued together. And that is, you know, an ideal situation, but the cost of those two, both the CNC work and the foam, can be cost prohibitive if you don't have the budget. So this is the way that we've decided to go forward, and this is how I'm going to build this. I've built multiple molds, both, you know, in the sense of a small craft and also a big, a 36-foot, racing catamaran mold as well. So I've got a lot of experience doing this. So it's not going to be a how-to on how to do it again. I'm going to go back to that same statement I said in the previous video. This is not about how-to. This is about how I do it. And, you know, if it's informational to you, then great. I've done my job, and I've shared some stuff that I do. And, yeah, everybody's better for it. So anyway, stay tuned for the future, videos on this project. In the meantime, I do have, room for one kayak at a time for repairs over the winter time. So we're going to keep that bay constantly, in and out, kayaks coming in and out. In between, because things are going to have to cure here on this side, which takes time. I need to be productive and doing other things, so I'll be working on the other projects right behind the camera that you can't see, and we'll just keep rocking out and keeping the paddling community happy, keeping their boats going, and also charging as fast as I can forward with this project, because we're on a kind of a tight deadline. So I want to give a really big, huge thank you and shout out to two people in particular. The designer, Casey, he's with Wispatech. These files, everything went together beautifully. We only had one anomaly, which is out of all of these different pieces, and I estimate probably between 125 and 150 pieces. It was a total of 46 sheets of plywood that were cut. So, out of all of that, we have just one anomaly, and that's what my hand is on now, and it's an easy fix. It'll take me about 30 minutes, and we're right back rocking and rolling. So, huge shout out to Casey, because that was a big job and a lot of room for error getting that done. He did a lot of things that I didn't think he would do, which is going to make my job a little easier. So thank you so much for all of that, and you'll probably see that later when we get into the mold making process a little bit more. So, I also want to thank Jay at Chesapeake Light Crafts. They're the ones that did all the CNC work on this. It was a whole day on a double banked CNC machine. So it's a lot of cutting. We made a lot of sawdust that day, and Jay kind of made all that kind of stuff happen. Organized the files and everything to maximize the use of the wood, which is really important these days, because wood is an expensive commodity, and it's a naturally occurring material. So we need to do our best at preserving it and not throwing away as much as we possibly can. So he did some really cool things, and like here, using up what would be an offcut, made a little scrap. This is perfect from mounting, joining, things like that, I'll use up all of those squares. There's probably about 20 of them in the process of making sure this thing is nailed down to the base. So that, thanks to Jay for having the foresight to do that, because it made my job a heck of a lot easier in the long run. So thanks to those two guys. That's about it. I'm going to get to work because there's a lot of fiddly bits that need to be done over the next couple days, and I do have a kayak repair that needs to be taken care of. And ultimately, things are going to be kind of slow around here for mid part of next week, because I am going out for a minor surgery that they say is going to take a week of time before I can be back on my feet and back in the shop. We'll see, because I do not have a good track record for following orders from doctors. So anyway, so that's it. Follow along. If you haven't liked or subscribed here and you want to follow more and see more content like this, because we got a lot of stuff that we've got planned for this year that's going to be really cool in all things composite, boats, kayaks, anything. If it involves sticky resin and fiber, that's what I do. So anyway, I'll see you around. Thanks.